It's Sean and Andrea from the morning show on the Cat. Thank you, Kelsey, for the pizza
Yeah, man. Thank y'all for having us.
and giving us lunch. These are all some winners that got to win lunch with you and get to know you a little bit. I don't know how many people here have seen you before, or you guys all watched some videos or some songs, all right? No? Went on the way here?
You prepped?
Yeah. All right, good. You're like, when we were in Nashville just recently, we were talking to everybody, you're the typical story, about 10 years overnight success. Right?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it's been, I've sang my whole life. But as far as pursuing music in Nashville, I think I'm at about eight years.
About 8 years. But like
Yeah.
2000, singer-songwriter, 2017, right? You get the Jake Owen credit, right?
Yeah.
On his greatest hits.
Yeah, that was...
Long as you're in it.
Yeah, long as you're in it. I think it was 2017.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. And then
Yeah,
you're
it
like,
was super cool.
you're like, boy, it's all going to go really fast now.
Well, it was funny because I was so new to town. It was one of my first rights that I was a part of.
Yeah.
And we got the Jake Owen cut, and I'm like, oh man, we got this. Like, and then you realize pretty quick, like it don't happen like that.
Well,
that was the beginner's luck,
it's
man.
a town full of really talented people who you're probably friends with.
Oh
of
yeah,
them, right?
Yeah, man. I've made a lot of great friends since I've been there, and actually 3 of the guys that I write with that was in my wedding. I mean, so it's
so
like,
cool.
yeah, I mean, just I've got super close with the community there in Nashville.
So speaking of your wedding, is that your actual
Yeah.
wedding in the video life with you?
Yeah, so the video guy, the producer, he set up, there was a huge green screen behind us, and he played the footage from our wedding on that, and then we just performed in front of the video.
First of all, I couldn't figure it out because I'm like, if this is this is a beautiful wedding. Yeah. And your
It's like,
wife
man, they really went all out.
and
for
your
that
wife
music
is
video.
also very beautiful.
I looked
Oh,
at
thank
Sean and
you.
I go, the emotions are far too real for that to be
Yeah.
a scene.
Did you write that for
Yeah.
her or for?
So I actually, my buddies and I, we didn't set out to write a wedding song. It was my now wife and I, we were dating at the time and had just started dating. So it was very much so about her and, our early on in our relationship. And then fast forward 3 years later and we got engaged and was thinking about or what kind of, what we was going to use for our first dance.
Right.
And she actually came to me and she said, hey, that song that you wrote like 3 years ago, like, can we use that?
Gosh.
So it was, we danced to like just the demo version that we
Gotcha.
wrote in the room that day. And it was just like an acoustic, like almost like work tape.
That's so cool.
And so, at that point, I didn't have any like plans didn't know if we were going to put the song out or not. And we started, we shared our first dance video, and then people at the wedding was just like, hey, like what song was that? Like I hadn't heard that song of yours. And so it just kind of sparked the conversation of like, maybe, this is something we put out. And, as so many people do now, we just kind of started teasing the song a little bit just through, Instagram and TikTok
Social
and those
media.
things.
Yeah.
And
You got over 200 million views on TikTok.
yeah, I can't
On
even wrap
that
my head
song.
around
That's a
that.
big number.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Somebody I was playing a show the other day, and the guy that introduced us, he was saying all those stats, and I looked at my manager and I was like, "Is that real?"
200 million.
like, is that-
There's only 330 million people in the country.
Yeah, I was like, "Is this guy making this up, or is that?" Yeah, but no, it's super cool. Kind of hard to wrap your head around, and that so many people, have used it as their first dance.
Right.
And just it's a super special song to me and my wife. Because it was our song and stuff too first, and yeah, pretty wild.
Hopefully you're going to do that for us here today.
Oh yeah, we'll play it. Yeah,
So at the end of the month, you're playing the Grand Ole Opry.
yeah, June 28th.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
Every artist talks about that moment, right?
Mhm.
You get the phone call to do that show.
Yeah.
What was that like? Did you know it was coming? Like, did they just surprise
no.
you?
I think they'd like to surprise you, don't they?
Right, I
Oh,
think
it
so,
was
right?
yeah, it was a surprise. We were playing somewhere. I can't remember exactly where we were at, but I was sitting at a bar, and
Perfect.
yeah, I was
Well,
sitting at
oh
a
my
bar.
God, right.
Perfect place to be.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, and I got a call from a guy at the label, John Clore, and he was just like, "Hey man, you sitting down?"
Oh
And I
my
was
God.
just like,
And then did you know?
Yes, I am.
well, at first I was like, I feel like somebody you either got some good news or some bad
Yeah,
news.
right.
I was just like, so I hope it's good. And he just came right out and said it, and I was sitting by, the guys that are in the band and the radio rep and people that was with me, and I just couldn't even hardly I was like, oh my God.
That's gonna be great. It's a
Yeah.
great
Yeah.
experience.
Well, I remember, I think it was like 2011 or something was like the first time I went to the Grand Ole Opry.
Right.
And at that time, I wasn't like, I mean, I'd sing as a kid.
but you weren't thinking this might be what you do.
Yeah, I wasn't like, my head wasn't in the space of, I'm going to like be a country singer. Like I wasn't thinking that. But I remember watching the show that night, and I was just thinking to myself, like, I don't know what I have to do this. I was like, but I want to somehow get up there on that stage.
I know what you have
Wow.
to do.
You know?
You have to write and sing a song that gets 200 million views on TikTok. That's what you have to do. For me, the last thing I want to ask you about is, your parents, right?
Yeah.
Your parents, your dad's doing well and
Yeah.
all that? Okay,
Yeah.
because I don't know.
Yeah.
But as a father, I don't know what I would do, and I got a son who likes to write.
Mhm.
If somebody wrote a song like "It's My Daddy's Fault,"
Oh yeah.
and then, like that's crazy good stuff. How did he react to that?
Oh man, he loved the song, and I usually tell the story too after talking about my dad reacting to it. But the first time I played it in my hometown, everybody, my family and stuff was coming
Yeah.
up like, oh man, my dad's name's Ron. They're like, oh Ron, he's such a good guy, man.
Aw.
He's like, yeah, he deserved this song. And my mom's like, she's like, sure, buddy. She's like, I need a song.
Right, right.
What about me?
That's funny. That's funny. That's like that TikTok thing where you do this with your parents if you want. If you didn't see it, you give your dad all the answers to the questions beforehand, but it's like, what's my favorite color and all that, and then your mom gets all
The moms
mad,
get
like
so mad.
you don't
Yeah.
know that about him.
Right.
Yeah,
Anyway,
I just seen that the other day.
Yeah,
It's funny.
Yeah.
well, listen, I appreciate again you coming out. I'm sure everybody else here does. If you can give them a round of applause.
Yeah, thank y'all for coming out. Appreciate it.
And taking the time off of your work and coming in for lunch and all that. Enjoy the pizza. And ladies and gentlemen,
Here we go.
Kelsey Hart.